Hey y'all, today we're going to talk about getting back into exercise after taking a body image break. So first of all, what is a body image break from exercise? This is something that comes up a lot with people who have been in a really disordered mental place in terms of food and also exercise regarding like weight, body control, perfectionism, all of those things that come with body image issues. They affect food. We obviously know that. We can call it an eating disorder, or we can just say somebody had disordered eating patterns. But they also come with exercise. They're super related and linked for a lot of people. So when you have been taught that exercise is for weight loss, that you have to do it a certain number of times a week, or certain, like you have to go for an hour of cardio every day, or you have to do any of these things to maintain the shape or size of your body, and it becomes about control, a lot of times it also becomes about obsession. And when it's about obsession, as you can imagine, you need to take a step back from it as you do the healing required to get towards body neutrality. You can't heal an eating disorder while still dieting or restricting food or controlling your food, and you can't heal a disordered relationship with exercise while still obsessively exercising. It can't be done. So as you can imagine, a lot of people, I mean, it's a spectrum. People can be just a little bit obsessed with exercise, or people can have a full-blown, real, serious mental health problem with it. But what we're talking about is that anywhere on that spectrum, a lot of people find that in order to access body neutrality and body image healing work, they have to step back. They have to stop doing that exercise. That's the body image break. I do this with a lot of my clients, and it is really challenging. It is terrifying if you have used exercise to control the shape and size of your body for so long, for years and for decades. It's terrifying to stop. But stopping is often the healthiest thing somebody can do. If we look at dieting, it's super easy to see that if somebody has an eating disorder, even though salads might be healthy, that person should probably not be eating salads, right? Because salads might be part of their obsession with, I have to eat as little calories as possible, or I have to eat as healthy as possible. That person, for a while, the healthiest thing they can do is going to be eat Pop-Tarts, eat cereal, eat carbs, eat fat, eat all of the junk food, because that's what's going to get them out of their eating disorder and towards recovery. So a body image break from exercise is the same exact thing. You're getting out of your pattern of obsessive control around exercise, or exercising to change the shape and size of your body, or exercise to maintain some level of perfectionism that you've associated with your worth. It's taking a break from that, stepping back and saying, okay, I have work to do to heal, so the healthiest thing for me right now, even though exercise is good for you, is to stop exercising. Now, just for clarity, I do want to point out that it is healthy to exercise. Movement is healthy. It's good for us. And not only is it good for us, it feels good. So for most of us, it's a super big bummer to not get to exercise anymore. So during these breaks, sometimes it feels great. People tell me, oh my God, I rested for the first time in my whole life. I took an entire week off of exercise and I feel fantastic. Sometimes that's the case. But as it drags on, as somebody's doing their recovery work, and it's weeks and now it's months, a really common experience is that people get super depressed about how they feel in their bodies. They feel lethargic, they feel sluggish, they feel just sad, they feel mentally they have less mental clarity, less mood boosting stuff. Because why? Because exercising is awesome for us. So it's a tricky line to walk, because yes, you have to do this healing work, you have to do this recovery work. You can't keep doing the obsessive patterns of exercise that you were doing before while you're healing that sense of your worth being related to the shape and size of your body and to your control over your body specifically. But also, it's really good for you and it makes us feel good. So it's a really big bummer, and what comes back to me every time is somebody's been doing it for a little while. Usually they feel good at first, and then it just drags on, and they go, when can I get back to exercise? When am I safe to get back to exercise? I'm tired of this. I feel like garbage. I miss yoga. I miss running. I miss whatever the thing is that I used to do. Please let me get back to exercise. When will I know that I'm ready? And my answer to them is always that it's just trial and error. I can never know when you're ready. So I want to really just talk about some of the advice I give people in these moments, because I am a huge believer in just, you should try and see. And it's only based on your experience. I can't tell you when you're ready. I can't tell you how long recovery will take. What I can tell you is it's almost always longer than you want it to, and it feels like it's way too long. That is a universal experience. But trial and error means that you get to try. If you took a break, maybe it's 2 or 3 months down the line, you stopped running or you stopped lifting weights and you're itching to get back into it, go ahead and try. But pay attention, stay super mindful, super conscious of what's going on for you. Because if this is still entangled, which it very well could be, with the desire to control your body or maintain a certain shape or size that keeps you feeling worthy in the world, or avoiding the disaster of having gained weight or whatever it is for you, that stuff is going to come rushing back. So maybe you're feeling super body accepting and really positive and neutral, and then all of a sudden you get back into the gym and it's like now you want to weigh yourself, now you're obsessing over food or calories or macros again, now you're body checking, you're monitoring what you look like in the mirror a lot. These are all factors that you were not ready. This is the only way. I say trial and error, give it a shot and see what happens, stay mindful and conscious. You're the only one who can know, but you will know, because if you try before you're ready, and you will almost definitely try before you're actually ready, because everybody wants to rush this process and it goes way, way slower than we ever want it to. Just notice that and go, okay, I wasn't ready. Back to the first plan where I rest for longer. So, if this is you, if you have been taking a body image break away from exercise and you are itching to get back into it and you are dying to get back into it, this is my advice for you. Number one is to give yourself permission to be uncomfortable. This sucks. It sucks that you have to take a break from moving your body, which is incredibly healthy and good for you and joyful and feels amazing. It sucks that you're in a position where diet culture has stolen this much from you. It is uncomfortable and it is unpleasant, and give yourself permission for that to be true. None of that means you have to change anything though. One of the things we often feel is like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, I have to fix this, I have to do something, I'm gonna get back to exercise. I don't like how I feel in my body, so I'm gonna do something. A lot of times though in recovery, unfortunately, feeling uncomfortable is just a sign that you have to feel uncomfortable. So get comfortable being uncomfortable, recognize that this is a universal experience of recovery, and that if you had a disordered relationship to exercise, and it's gonna take you longer than you want to recover from it, there will be side effects. You are gonna feel kind of sluggish. You aren't gonna feel as healthy and light and strong and mobile and have as good of endurance as you once did. All of that is true, and all of that is uncomfortable. But none of that means you have to change anything. This is part of the plan. It's just that you have to hold that discomfort. The second thing I recommend doing, and this is going to be a little bit different for everybody, is let yourself grieve. There's a huge loss here. There's a loss of, if you loved exercise, there is a loss of that activity that you loved so much. Even if you hated exercise, there's still a loss of a tool for coping, a tool for mood boosting, a tool for stress reducing. All of the wonderful things that exercise has to offer us get taken away when we have to take these breaks for our recovery. And that is deeply sad. So instead of just allowing it to be uncomfortable, I also often recommend conscious grieving. Let yourself mourn the loss of this activity or this time in your life. Mourn the loss of your body and the way your body felt when you were super in shape and fit and feeling great. Mourn the loss of your cherished hopes and dreams that diet culture fed you and said, hey, if you get in good enough shape, you're gonna be happy and you're gonna find a partner and you're gonna be successful and everything's gonna be amazing for you. There's a lot of grief in that. By choosing the path of recovery instead of the path of diet culture, meaning by choosing to heal and find self-worth outside of how you look instead of buying into the myth that you'll feel happy and confident and everything you want on the other side of looking the right way, there is a lot of grief to be had there. So let yourself grieve, let yourself mourn, do it consciously. Make rituals around it if that's helpful for you, but let yourself be as sad as this situation is, because there is a lot that is being lost as you go through this recovery process. The third thing I recommend is to have an accountability partner in your life. Whoever that might be, make sure that they are safe, meaning they are involved in anti-diet culture work already. Obviously for my clients, I am their accountability partner in this way, but for someone in your life, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a partner, somebody who knows you, who can keep their eye on you in certain ways, certain aspects, and will just reflect back or throw down a red flag if they happen to notice that you're falling back into those old patterns of thinking or behaving when it comes to exercise or food or weight or body stuff. So an easy example for this is I might have a client who's been taking a break for a while, and she comes to me and she says, I feel ready. I'm body neutral. I'm ready to do it. I've just been, I really want to move to feel good and love myself. And I think I'm going to get back into running marathons. So if this had only been a few months after somebody took a break, I would throw down a red flag. I'd be like, hey, just so you know, that sounds a lot to me like you're itching to get back into super intense, really punishing training style that is most likely still connected to your old way of seeing yourself and your self-worth as being connected to your performance or your body. That's something I would reflect, and we could have a conversation. So have somebody like that in your life. I don't know better than my clients, and your accountability buddy is not going to know better than you. Only you know the answer to when you're ready to get back into exercise. But having somebody there to just reflect, that seems fast, is super useful, and in the long term, it's going to keep you really safe. Just to have somebody sort of keeping an eye on something, because these disordered patterns can be really, really powerful. And diet culture can come rushing back, and if you don't have someone there to reflect to you, hey, here's what I'm noticing, you can get wrapped up in it and kind of backslide and lose a lot of that recovery progress. Number 4 is to find more movement that is not exercise. Because exercise is this very structured thing that we think of with like training towards some kind of goal, whether that goal is just better health or some kind of sport or strength or endurance in some way. We think of that as exercise. But you can also just move your body more. And I highly recommend, if exercise is too triggering for you, if you try to go to the gym and all those disordered thoughts about food and weight and body come rushing back, do more movement. Do more stuff that's not actually exercise, but is you moving your body. So that might mean, going for more walks, or getting down on the ground and playing with your kids instead of watching a TV with them, or going on dates that are active, like apple picking or bowling instead of, watching a movie. So these are just ways of moving your body a little bit more in the world so that you can feel connected, you can feel embodied, but you're not worried about getting triggered back into that state of exercise equals me changing my body to earn my self-worth. 5 is to check in with yourself and find activities that maybe scratch the itch of exercise a little bit, but are not the same ones that you used to do and are super wrapped up with diet culture and changing your body and having control. So maybe you used to run and you used to lift weights. And now when you try to run or you try to lift weights, you're super triggered, you're right back in those disordered thoughts. But maybe that wouldn't apply if you took up a totally different activity or sport. So maybe you try rock climbing, maybe you try hiking, maybe you try yoga, maybe you try dance. These are all activities that are able to get you moving and actually could totally apply as exercise, but maybe won't tip you over that line and push you into the old disordered patterns of thinking. So try different stuff and give yourself permission to just set aside the hardest stuff to get back into is going to be the stuff you used to do to change and control your body. That's always going to be the case. So don't worry if those are the last to come back and feel safe for you. Maybe they'll never come back and feel safe for you. What's important is that you find other ways that don't trigger you, that are safe for you. And sometimes a side step to this can just be pick new activities, take up new stuff. If you do decide to pick up a new activity or a new way of moving your body that's not the old exercise way of doing things, I highly recommend focusing on either having a new skill that you're building or getting a new experience that you want. An example of skill would be if you're learning archery, if you were learning rock climbing, if you're learning salsa dancing, horseback riding, ice skating. These are skills that you can apply yourself mentally and physically to learning and improving, and they're not just exercise for the sake of health. They're not exercise for the sake of changing or controlling your body. They're a skill, you get better at them. Really, really, really helpful reframe for a lot of people. And often a lot less triggering to do something that way. The other thing is to get experiences that you want. So maybe running or biking or kayaking or rollerblading. Maybe these get you out in hiking and backpacking adventure type outdoor sports. You're out in the world having experiences with nature, with friends, and that can feel really, really good to gather those feelings. So can a lot of activities. Rock climbing or salsa dancing could also be experiences, and vice versa. So pick something that gets you something valuable to you outside of health and outside of changing or controlling how you look. The last thing I recommend is to really re-examine your relationship with feeling your best. Because so many people that I work with will report to me that they only feel their best when they're really fit, or when they're moving a lot, or when they're in the midst of a lot of exercise feeling really strong and like their endurance is really good. They'll tell me that, oh, I used to feel good, or I used to feel my best all the time. I felt light, I felt free, I felt strong. Now I just feel sluggish and gross and heavy and all of these, negative things that they now experience when they've taken the body image break from exercise. So I encourage you to re-examine, if this is you, your relationship with what feeling your best actually means. Because a lot of times what you're referring to is you were feeling your best in part because, yes, thematically feels good to be in shape, but also because you were associating, you had a belief about yourself at the time that you were being good because you were exercising a lot, which means you were basically fitting the standard for what society says we should do, and you were essentially just proving your worth to everybody, which felt good, which makes perfect sense because we live in a culture that teaches you that you are better and superior, like morally worth more, of more value, all these things when you're productive and healthy and thin and fit. All of those things we've been associated with for our whole lives because of diet culture and patriarchy and sexism and all kinds of things, fat phobia. All of that makes us feel our best when we are following the rules, and we get all that positive feedback from people, and we're getting compliments, and people are like, oh my gosh, you have such discipline, I wish I could do what you do. It feels good. So give yourself permission to redefine what your best feels like. For example, how might you be able to feel your best on a day you didn't do any exercise? Is it possible? If not, why not? What's going on with that? Redefine it so that you can feel your best on a day you didn't do any exercise, which again isn't to say you didn't move at all, but if it's linked up with exercise, it's often linked up with viewing yourself and having your self-worth be in some way related to controlling your body and how you look. And that's it. Try these tips. Let me know what's going on for you and if this is a challenge, and we can discuss in the comments.